I have a confession. A few weeks ago, I acted out on a boyhood obsession and I made an impulsive purchase. So far, there's no regrets, but it'll be interesting to see what you think. But before I reveal what's new around here, I wanted to take one last opportunity to showcase what unfortunately has to go. But hey, it was a lot of fun while it lasted.
Dig Drive DIY!
I love dump trucks. I always have since I was a little kid.
So for you new viewers out there, my love of dump trucks is well documented here on this channel. I can't explain it, and sometimes I find myself thinking it's very irrational. But then I also think, well, some folks like sports cars, and some folks like motorcycles. I just like dump trucks. I've had a handful of single axle trucks over the last 20 years, and they're super useful to have around any farmstead. But when my wife and I finally decided we were going to dig our backyard pond, I saw it as a great opportunity to get one like I'd always dreamed of when I was a kid. If we were going to dig a pond, then I wanted to do it myself. And I'd always dreamt of having a triaxle dump truck. So when a friend of ours mentioned that this truck might be for sale, I approached him, we struck up a deal, and I came home with it. 2, 3, 4, it's got 4 flat tires. It's kind of a neat looking truck. It's got that older conventional look to it. It's got a 400 Cummins in it, I think. The oil's up on it. I don't know. What do you think? Should I buy it? Here comes the owner. You can shut it off for a minute.
15 minutes later.
Oh, I bought it. It's a 1985 GMC General triaxle dump truck. So I got this thing home. I realized what a wide turning radius it had, but that really wasn't going to be an issue. I wanted to haul 50 to 100 loads of dirt, and once I got that done, I'd probably be done with the truck. But there were a few things I needed to take care of in order to make it safe enough to travel down the road. I'm going to take it on its first significant road trip, about 10-15 miles away. I'm going to take it to a mechanic and get it checked out. Now the clutch brake it may need a clutch brake or some work there. You know, it runs fine, it seems to run out fine, but the brakes are weak, and I know they're weak just on being empty. So if we get a load on here, that's what I want to have checked out. So I took it to a friend of mine who's got a local big truck repair shop, and they looked it over, got all the lights working for me proper, and just made sure that it was safe to go up and down the road, adjusted up the brakes, little stuff like that. He had it for a little while and couldn't get to everything, so I was impatient and brought it back home. I still needed to get that clutch brake adjusted. Fortunately, my Uncle Jerry was home, and he used to be a big truck mechanic as well. So they were visiting from North Carolina, and well, we put him to work. That is incredible.
Any better?
That's a different truck.
I didn't hear nothing grinding.
No, I didn't grind anything. So for 20 years you were a truck mechanic, and so this was probably a piece of cake for you.
Yeah, I knew, I understood what needed to be done.
Yeah.
And was able to do it. That's your clutch brake.
Okay.
And that's attached to your input shaft on the transmission.
Gotcha. Oh, I see it moving now. Is Dad moving it? Or
No,
did you move?
It just moves itself.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's free float.
Works good. It's way better, so thank you so much.
Yeah, that's my pleasure.
Well, the last thing I needed to do was put some oil in the hydraulic system so that the bed would raise up all the way. We noticed that it wouldn't quite go all the way to the top without cavitating or starving for oil. So Dad and I put some oil in the reservoir and we cleaned up the back window. I was ready to start digging the pond, and we were going to get the dirt all out of here to a neighbor's. It was just 1.5 miles or less down the road, and I thought this was going to be able to do it no problem. It did for a while. All right, so it's Memorial Day, and when Dad called and said he blew a tire, I thought there's no way we're getting a tire, we're pretty much done. But then I put in a call to my good friend Adam. He said he might have a tire. We knew there was a risk of tires going bad because, you know, we haven't changed any tires. That flat tire wouldn't have been that big of a deal if it hadn't happened on Memorial Day, but that's the way things go sometimes. The General's back. You got the tire put on, it's going for now. We'll run it. We're only going 1 mile down the road, so it doesn't matter. So there was a little more digging to do on the pond, and we did that for the course of the next week or so. fun. And finally, it was all done. Pond looks good. And it was time to move the topsoil out of here. I had a big pile out back from when we dug the pond, and I wanted to move it over to a different neighbor's house so that I could keep it for later, and well, we fired the General back up for that. So the General did everything I asked it to do, and it actually runs really good down the road. It's a fully functioning truck, everything works, and I couldn't have asked for anything more than what it provided. But even though I really like the truck, I was never in love with the truck. I'm more of a Ford guy, I'm a product of the 80s and 90s, and the Ford Louisville truck is always what I dreamt of as a dream truck. So this one here would be better suited for someone that really can love it the way it deserves to be loved, because it is a good truck. It was just never felt like my truck. So I'm going to have it listed for sale, and I think the right thing to do for the next owner would be just to spruce it up a little bit. So I'm going to get in there, I'm going to clean up the cab just a little bit, make it feel a little nicer to be driving in. A lot of rags and stuff in here. Junky dirty. Oh yeah, that looks better than that tore up carpet. This is actually the kind of truck right here where it can be really improved with just some elbow grease. You know, you could paint it by hand, you could clean it all up, you could fix a lot of the stuff yourself. This would really make a good truck. That's where I think the value is. It's got a good drivetrain, and a lot of the flaws are just cosmetic. So someone has come on to look at this truck this morning that seems pretty serious. We'll see what they think. Well, these guys are here, they're checking it out. I think they like it. Well, they're gonna get it. All right, well, this is Braden, and he's the new proud owner of the General. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm excited to get it going.
I think the way it sounds, you're gonna make her look nice, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, well, keep me in the loop, and we'll show you what it looks like once it's all done. All right?
Alrighty.
Enjoy it, man.
Yep.
Now I'm kind of having second thoughts, but it is what it is. Good luck. There it goes. The best part about it is those guys are excited to have that truck, and that's what it needs. I'm excited for them. So good luck, Braden and Blake. Thanks so much. I look forward to seeing what you do with it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that last look at the General. I'm sad to see it go, but it makes me feel better knowing how pumped up those guys are to work with it. So, all right, I got to find something else to work on. And I can't tell you how much easier the job can be when you get a guy that really knows what he's doing. He knows his stuff when it comes to spreading. As a matter of fact, I was recording when I was talking to him earlier, so I want to let you eavesdrop on a few words of wisdom from a seasoned dump truck driver that knows his way around a tailgate.
Actually, the OL 9000 was my favorite old truck, but that's a Rough Riders. You can't beat that truck.
Just stopped in at one of our local truck dealers. They had this truck on the lot. This is an old 94 L9000 Louisville. It's got a Cummins in it and an 8LL transmission, all aluminum wheels. Back in the day, this was the truck. This was the nuts right here, man. This thing could get shined up to look pretty nice. Interesting. What if I traded this out for the General? What do you think? Oh boy. This thing is speaking to me. I don't know. It is speaking to me. It's sharp. Alright, I don't know why it was speaking to me so much, but I bought it. I've always wanted one of these. This one was in really good shape. It's been really well taken care of. One owner truck. And I don't know. We're going to sell the General. We're going to see what this one does. So Dad's going to give it his first impression right now. Dad's jumping in for the first time. I drove it to here. It's super tight. It's nice. For me, it's really nice. It's got really nice seats in it, doesn't it? This will be in the parade next year. That's a sharp looking truck. I went to high school in the early 90s, and there happened to be a limestone quarry right across the road from the school. I can remember sitting in class and watching hundreds of dump trucks go by every day. And when these Aeromax style hoods came out on the Fords and they looked like so many of the Ford cars and trucks of the same era, I thought they were awesome looking, and I dreamt that I'd get one of my own someday. I just didn't think it would take nearly 30 years. So, as you might have heard in this video, there's a little overlap in the story here. When I found the L9000, I still had the General, which really sealed the fate of that truck because I'd have to sell it in order to afford this truck. Welcome Louie to the fleet. Of course, don't forget about Mr. 750. It's a regular trucking business around here. Okay, this is my first load with Louie. Never used him before. But for about 2 weeks there, I got to own them both. And luckily, I had a job I could use them both on too. For one day, I got to pretend I had a trucking company. And Dad and I actually moved a heck of a lot of dirt in a very short amount of time. Let's go see how it hauls it. How's it gonna turn? Turns good. So, fortunately, having this YouTube channel and doing the type of odd jobs I do might make having this truck a little less irrational than it would be otherwise. I'm fortunate to, number one, have a wife that puts up with this kind of stuff, and number two, get to act upon all these boyhood bucket list items of mine. It's not lost on me how lucky that is, believe me. That was a childhood fantasy right there. Now I've done that before, but that was fun. But eventually, I hope to clean this old boy up properly and put him to work at every opportunity I get. I'll do a more in-depth spotlight video after I've had a chance to work on it this winter. But in the meantime, did I make a bad decision to get rid of the General in favor of Louie? My dad actually prefers the styling of the General, and I can certainly appreciate that, but I'd be interested to know your thoughts. You can type General or Louie in the comments below to vote, and it'll be interesting to see how that tallies up. So thanks for that, and thanks so much for clicking on this video. Hopefully you liked it, and if I'm lucky, we'll see you here on the next one. We'll check on the pond real quick. There it is. Grass is growing. It's raining too.